Welcome to our second week of Coffee with the Seniors, celebrating our seniors again for this second week. Thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate it, everybody. And our seniors who kicked it off last week for us did a phenomenal job. And I'm really excited to hear from all of our seniors today, all four with a good history on the team and a long time full of experiences that I'm excited to hear about from all of them. So with that, we have four today over three. So I'm excited to hear from all four. And with that, I'd rather hear from them directly. So I'm going to pass it off to them right away. To get us started today is Calissa Callie. Most of you know her by Villaluna, freestyler and backstroker in the senior growth group, and will be attending USD in the fall. One of the things I like about Callie is I got an opportunity to work with Callie last summer, and she did a phenomenal job, and she was more than qualified and able to take the national group. But she understood that with her goals and focus points, that it wasn't the right fit for her. So she's continued to swim in the senior growth group and continued to advance and get better through that group, because that's what she wanted and that's what fit into her schedule best based on the expectations of the group. And I really respect swimmers that make that decision, but stay focused on doing the best that they can within that senior growth group and still growing within that opportunity. And Callie's did a phenomenal job of doing that just over this past year. So I'm excited to introduce Callie Villaluna.
Thank you, Coach Jeff. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Callie and I'm a senior in the senior growth group. I have been on Roseville ever since I was 6 years old. Every year, I would always look forward to hearing the seniors give their speeches while standing up on the balcony looking at all their teammates, coaches, and parents who have supported them throughout their entire swimming career. If you told me 10 years ago that I would be sitting in the comfort of my own room giving my speech, I would have thought you were crazy. But I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak about the amazing memories and lessons this team has taught me over the last decade. I've been on this team for as long as I can remember, and I will always think of Roseville as another home and a safe place where I feel I truly belong. Roseville has been a part of my life and routine for countless years, and I'm so grateful for the supportive teammates the Roseville has brought together. The people and numerous coaches I have had over the years has made me the swimmer I am today. I first wanted to start off by thanking Coach James. He was one of the first coaches I've ever had, and he made swimming so fun for me at such a young age. It made me want to stick to swimming and helped me realize that this is what I wanted to pursue. I also want to thank Coach Hector. Coach Hector spent a countless number of hours with me doing private lessons and trying to help me refine my strokes. I remember working on my breaststroke, and even though it was and still is a lost cause, he still persevered and tried to help me as much as he could. I'd also like to thank Coach Justine for all of her important advice. Sometimes it would be the things I never really wanted to hear, but the things I needed to hear to be better. She helped me build my fundamentals and always knew exactly what to say to me. Also, I wanted to thank Coach Jeff Julian. I was never formally in one of his groups, but I am very grateful I had the opportunity to go on a few team trips led by him with the national group. I always felt very welcomed and left with lasting memories. Then there was Coach Cameron. Thank you for putting up with me from the very beginning of my journey here and now again all the way till the end. Although I'm convinced you were the reason I was in Drills for Skills for so long, I'm glad that you were one of my first and last coaches here. And finally, my last coach, Coach Jeff Klotz. I've been one of his swimmers since the very beginning of my freshman year. It was a huge transition for me to start high school and move up to a group dedicated to 15-year-olds and up. But Coach Jeff made the change a lot smoother for me. He truly cares about each and every single one of his swimmers. It doesn't matter how fast you are, how dedicated you are to the sport, or what kind of person you are. He cares about every person and never fails to reach out and ask if you're doing okay or what is going on in your life besides swimming. He has witnessed me go through so many ups and downs these last 4 years and has always given me valuable advice inside and outside the pool, which has helped mold me into the person I am today. During those 4 years with Coach Jeff, I was a part of Senior 2 and Senior Growth. The people in those groups have definitely made my time on this team the most memorable for me and filled it with so much happiness, excitement, determination, and lots of ups and downs. They've taught me how to be a better person, teammate, leader, and swimmer. I've grown so close to so many of them just because we've seen each other's best and worst moments. I've learned that they're always going to be there for me even after I close this chapter in my life. And lastly, I want to thank my parents. If they never forced me to learn how to swim that summer before a family vacation, I would have never ended up being a swimmer and would have never found this passion. Thank you for the countless of rides to the pool and your love and support throughout my entire journey here. Over the last 10 years, I've made so many memories and have formed so many lifelong friendships because of the environment this team has created. I will always be grateful that I was able to grow up and learn so many important life lessons on this team.
Oops, sorry. I need to undo the mute button. Thank you, Callie. That was wonderful. And a great way to get us started here. Up next, we have Angelica C. Angelica had a little bit different of a story, having moved to Harvard Westlake for high school and having moved over in that area. Drive being a little long, so she took a little break from the team, but then has now been back for a little while to finish out her career back with Rose Bowl, where she was for a long time prior to this. And now we'll be taking her swimming and academics to Cornell University in the fall. So up next, we have Angelica.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angelica. Most of you may not know my story, but I started swimming in Rosebuds when I was only 4 years old. I don't remember much, but I used to have one of those fish swim caps that had a fin sticking out on top, and I would wear it every day to practice. Back then, I had Coach Jeff Klotz, and he would grab the fin and pull the cap right off my head before we were all supposed to get in. Ever since I was little, Rolls Bowl has always been my second home. When I wasn't at home or at school, I was at Rolls Bowl. So much so that when I was younger, my parents put me in both diving and swimming just so that I'd be at Rolls Bowl just a little bit longer. But it's not the time spent at Rolls Bowl that makes me call it my second home. It's the friends, the coaches, and most importantly, the team. Nowhere have I ever found a group of people more supportive, loving, and encouraging as the people I've met at Rolls Bowl. In 2016, I moved to the West Side and consequently had to switch teams as I could no longer make the commute every day to practice. I was devastated by the fact that I would no longer see my best friends every day, but that didn't change the relationships I made. We stayed in touch, and at swim meets, they'd always make sure to run over and give me the biggest hugs. Fast forwarding 3 years to when I finally got my driver's license, I asked my parents if I could return to Rolls Bowl for my senior year. Despite having left, everyone welcomed me back with open arms. It's only at a team like Rolls Bowl where you can find such incredible people that you never want to leave. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to all the parents who have spent countless hours setting up swim meets, sending us on team trips, driving us to practice no matter what time it is, and importantly, for cheering us on every step of the way. Thank you to my fellow teammates for creating an environment that is both competitive and encouraging, and for being my second family. Thank you to Coach James and Coach Jeff Klotz for being the most memorable Rosebuds coaches ever, even to the point where I remember you as my coach more than 10 years later. Thank you to Coach Christine for shaping me into the swimmer I am today. Although the sound of your voice yelling at me from across the pool to hold my breath into the wall quite literally scared the air out of me, everything you did was to help me become the best possible swimmer I could be. I'll forever be grateful for the lessons you taught me growing up and for the words of encouragement you provided me when I struggled to reach my goals. I remember the first time I was allowed to wear a knee skin. It was at 2016 age group NCSAs in Florida, and right before my first event, I ripped a hole in my new suit. I immediately began to panic, but you helped me believe in myself by reminding me that it wasn't the suit that had gotten me there in the first place. So many times have you believed in my abilities and encouraged me to push myself when I could not find the confidence. One of my most memorable swims came from you seeing my potential. It was in the 800 free relay at 2016 Summer JS. At the time, you made me anchor despite having the slowest time out of the 4 girls. I was so nervous, but you reassured me that you knew what you were doing by putting me there, and I ended up going 4 seconds faster than my best time 2 days earlier in the meet. I will never forget the invaluable lessons of perseverance, discipline, and confidence that you have taught me throughout the years. Next, thank you to Coach Caitlin for always being there for us. Whether it's swimming related or not, you're always willing to listen and help us with whatever we're going through. And despite only knowing you for a year, I know that I, along with everyone else in our group, will miss having you on the pool deck every day, either laughing with us about whatever random words come out of Hojun's mouth or at us for struggling to complete the simplest of tasks. And finally, thank you to Coach Jeff Julian. Although you've only coached me for a year, you've opened me up to an entirely new side of swimming, the mental side. You've taught me that the importance of remaining positive and learning mental toughness. Since moving back to Roseville, I've improved a lot in the water, and much of that improvement comes from learning how to not give in mentally. I know that I still have room to grow, but you helped lay the foundation for my future at Cornell. Speaking of the future, you provided me with the tools to succeed, not just in swimming, but in life in general. Your lessons of positivity have helped me realize that something good can come from anything. When quarantine began, I struggled with coming to terms with what had happened to my senior year. I found myself unmotivated and uninterested to do anything. It wasn't until you talked to us about the ways in which we could take what had happened and used it to help us grow in different ways than we're used to. This lesson of finding ways to turn what seems to be a bad situation into a learning experience is definitely something I'm grateful to have learned before continuing my journey at Cornell. So to everyone here today, thank you. But before I finish giving my senior speech, marking the end of my career as a club swimmer, I feel as though there's a group of people I owe the most to the national group girls. Thank you for being my best friends, for cheering me on when I got my first winter juniors cut, and for helping me make memories I'll never forget. Nowhere else will I have ever found a group of girls willing to cry over wanting a milkshake, dance to TikToks behind the block, and sing at the top of your lungs no matter who is listening. And for all of this, I'm forever grateful. And most specifically, to Kylie Ruiz, Maya Wilson, Alex Serkin, Emily Giesler, Amanda Peterson, and Jessica Ordaz. Thank you for growing up with me since Coach Christine's 10 and under gold group. I'll forever cherish the memories of pretending to be mermaids after practice, wearing onesies, making faces out of tortillas at Palm Springs, creating bouquets of breadsticks at Olive Garden, running into the bathtub because somehow that's supposed to save us from tornadoes, and most importantly, driving Coach Christine insane by playing Pink Fluffy Unicorns on repeat every single time we got in the bus at Far Westerns. Roseville is a place where unforgettable memories are created and family is born. Thank you for making such an impact on my life, and as I go on my journey to college and beyond, I will always carry my Roseville family with me.
Phenomenal. Thank you, Angelica. That was amazing. And reminded me I need to be more prepared. I'm not normally in front of a camera when these are going, so when my eyes tear up, it's not a big deal. Now I need something to help me with that. Thank you. That was awesome. Next up, we have Marshall Sharp, another long time member of Rose Bowl. Has worked his way up all the way to the national group this year. He's a flyer and freestyler, and will be heading off to Grinnell College in the fall. So with that, Marshall.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, so hey everyone, I'm Marshall, and I've been in the national group for the past year or so, and I've been swimming on Rose Bowl competitively for the past 7 years. I actually joined Rose Bowl when I was 2 to learn how to swim, and my mom was weirdly intent on me learning how to swim, I guess, but I don't really remember because I was 2, so I just think she was because I was really young. Anyways, so I remember my first day in the preschool 1 group, I think that's what it was called. They told me I wasn't allowed to wear my water shoes, and I was crushed. I never wanted to swim again. I just wanted to go home and cry, but I couldn't because I couldn't cry in front of my mom or anyone else. So I just kept going. It's actually one of my first memories ever. But after a month of floating on my back successfully, I got so good at it, they moved me up to preschool 2, which was pretty cool. And then I did a few freestyle strokes, a few flutter kicks, and I was in preschool 3. Pattern continued, and I was a swimming master at age 5. I could literally beat Michael Phelps in my mind. I was such a good swimmer. Then I simply stopped doing lessons because I didn't like it. And then, so, of course, I rejoined Rose Bowl when I was 7 and thought about joining the swim team. It was either that or diving, so I felt like the choice was pretty easy. I swam for the Rosebuds for a few months, but after getting out of the pool in mid-January at 5:30 p.m., when it was a chilly 60 degrees, it was time to quit again. It was just too damn cold. I couldn't keep doing that to myself. So after that, I got a bit pudgy, played some basketball, played some baseball, ran a bit, did a bit more basketball, didn't really know what I was going to do. And one day my dad came out into the living room and talked to me about maybe doing a triathlon. And I was pretty intrigued, but apparently I couldn't be Michael Phelps. My swimming skills needed some working on. So I went back to Rose Bowl again. I think I was 10, and I joined the blue group, and I moved myself up and was in the bronze group with Coach Kenny in a few months' time. It was in that group that I truly fell in love with the sport. I wanted to get better and slowly move my way up to 11-12 gold with none other than Coach Christine. I was so intimidated by everyone in that group, I felt like I didn't belong at all. But Coach Christine was extremely encouraging and always tried to bring the best out of my swimming. I remember my first winter age groups ever. I had qualified in 6 events, but I had just barely qualified. Christine decided that I was going to anchor every single relay she had. I got in the water and had a mini heart attack every single time I swam. We placed second in every relay because I think it was Noah Broom that would catch me every single time. And I would have a 4 body length lead, he just kept catching me. It was very annoying. Anyway, so eventually we swam the 400 medley, and Danny gave me about a 5-person body length lead. So I swam the first 75 pretty quickly and actually maintained that lead, which was surprising, not just to me, but what I assume was everyone watching. And then I died hard the last 25. My arms were barely coming out of the water, and I didn't know who was near me. So but every time I breathed, I could hear people screaming. So I just kept spinning my arms in hopes that I was near the wall. I touched the wall, and we won by 100th of a second or so. And for this, I thank you, Coach Christine, for really believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. You made me anchor every relay we swam that meet, and you barely knew me. And it gave me hope that if you, an Olympic gold medalist, believed in me, I should believe in myself. So thank you. After that, I moved into the JO group with Coach Christine, and we did a lot of 400 frees with the buoy and snorkel. And I love that, actually, but we just did a lot of those. And then I had Curtis's group my freshman year in high school. I loved having Curtis as a coach. He was such a kind person, and he had to deal with young teenagers.
Never in a group commercial before.
Ask.
Maybe, I don't know.
You know, I left my backpack at Boys and Girls Club once, and Curtis was nice enough to call my mom and tell me I had left it, and he went out of his way to go and drop off the backpack at my house. I'm extremely thankful that I was able to be coached by Coach Curtis. He is truly the definition of a nice human being. Although I did love being in Curtis's group, I was the oldest, and all my friends were in Jeff Kloss's group, so I felt like that's where I belonged, but I wasn't fast enough. I saw them doing karaoke on deck after set, always laughing, working tirelessly, and of course, Jeff yelling at them to go faster. It looked like a blast. The next year, I moved up to Jeff's group, and honestly did not have the best year in terms of swimming. I felt like I was sick all the time, didn't come to practice with a good attitude, and struggled to motivate myself. Jeff knew this was happening, of course, because, well, Jeff knows all. But after a morning practice in November where I fell apart during a long distance set, Jeff talked to me after practice and told me that he didn't move me up to the group because I had the times to, but simply moved me up to the group because he wanted me in there. He thought I could make a good impact on the group and contribute well to the overall attitude. I could help not just me grow as a swimmer, but everyone else. At first, I was really, really bummed because I felt like he had called me slow, but that's not what he was saying at all. And I know that now. Jeff Klotz knows this is a team sport above all else, and I needed to learn that. I still had that age group mentality, and I love that phrase. And he'll forever say I have that mentality, but I love it. So that really pushed me to become a motivator. And once I did that, the training came easily to me. The next year, I think I had the most impactful year of my swimming career. Jeff was always on me about leading the group once the seniors had left and kept pushing me to speak up when the group lacked camaraderie. He told me to get out in front and train harder and work on my technique, which I literally had none of. Coach Jeff Klotz, I was in your group for 2 years, and I cannot say how much of an impact you have had on me. You helped me become the swimmer I am today. Even before I was in your group, you would call me over after a swim and talk to me about it. It has been an absolute pleasure. You didn't just coach me as a swimmer, but also as a person. There are so many things I wish I could say about how much you've influenced me, but I just don't think everyone wants a 45-minute long speech. So entering my senior year, I was expecting to go back to senior 2 of Jeff Klotz, but the national group announced that entering the season, the new requirement for being a national was having sectionals. So Of course, I went to talk with Jeff Klotz about that, and he told me I would regret it if I didn't move up. So I did. National group has been a blessing. Coach Jeff and Coach Caitlin, you guys are some seriously great coaches. I've improved in so many ways it's astronomical. My technique is now half decent compared to what it used to be, which is insane. My IM is somehow one of my best events, and I miraculously dropped 10 seconds in a 2-back in practice. Thank you so much for being amazing coaches. And obviously, I can't write this speech and not give a big shout out to Mr. Cienega and Mr. Kosick. You guys are the reason Rose Bowl thrives and are such a big part of this team. And to all my friends, thank you. You guys are the real pushers when it comes to training. There's no denying that without my teammates, I would be nowhere, and I think I can say that applies to everyone. And to my parents, you guys rock. I could not have done it without you. You always supported me in season when I would add 40 seconds in total at some random meet in Ventura. You guys drove me to countless morning practices. Even when I was able to drive, you guys would wake up from time to time to make sure I actually got out of bed. Can't even tell you the number of times I've woken up at 5:30 to a 5 a.m. practice with my dad yelling at me to get out of bed. Anyways, thanks for being amazing. I love you guys. Rose Bowl has created an environment that fosters great people and great swimmers. I'm so thankful I've gotten to be part of such a special team and call this place my home away from home. This place will remain in my heart for years to come. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Marshall. That was wonderful. Yeah, our seniors are really doing a fantastic job. Thank you all. We do have one more this week. This one, Emily Giesler, will round us out. Emily's been a part of the Rose Bowl forever, it seems. Even the national group, it seems like she's been a part of for almost ever. And the family, I owe a lot to, and I appreciate and grateful for back canceling the workout 5 years plus ago and having that call right away, of which started my process and my journey to be where I am today. Yes, thank you, Geislers, for everything that you have given. But I'm excited to hear Emily's speech round us out today. So with that, Emily Giesler, a breaststroker and IMer in the national group, becoming a Hoya in the fall as she heads off to Georgetown. So, Emily.
Thank you, Jeff. Hi, Rose Bowl. My name is Emily Giesler, and I'm graduating from Flitwick Sacred Heart Academy and will be swimming for Georgetown in the fall. I've been part of this team for 14 years now, which, crazy enough, is longer than some kids in my own group have been alive. Not only have I witnessed the incredible growth of this team, but this team has seen me grow up, from a 5-year-old taking swim lessons to the woman I am today. Of the hundreds of times I've written this speech in my head during practice throughout the years, I will admit, not once did I ever imagine myself doing it on Zoom. However, I would like to thank everyone here today for your constant love and support. I have a lot of people to thank who have made my success on this team possible, and I want to start off with my family, because without them, none of this would have ever been possible. Originally, my family, having no prior knowledge or experience with the sport, took Coach Chad's advice to graduate from the lesson pool to the swim team, thinking that it would be a fun and easy way to make friends. They had no idea the life I was signing myself up for. Dear family, thank you. I will never be able to thank you enough for letting me not only dedicate myself to this team, but for dedicating yourselves as well. One of the biggest takeaways I've gained from Rose Bowl is that it is impossible to reach your potential without the support of others. So I thank my family for supporting me while trusting the coaches and program at the same time. I've been extremely lucky to have a family who is able to maintain the perfect balance between supporting my love for this sport and trusting the program to make me successful. To any parent out there watching right now, I encourage you to use my parents as an example to trust the amazing coaches that Rose Bowl has and to let your swimmer find their own journeys to success. As someone who often wanted to not talk about swimming at home, I would like to thank my parents for respecting me and not talking about swimming, just as much as thanking them for supporting me through the times that I did want to talk about it. Thank you for pretending you know what pace is after I've come home excited that I hit it, even though you have both told me recently that you don't know what that is. I appreciate your smiling and nodding through swim conversations, as your respectful distance from knowing too much about the sport is a big part of what made me successful. Dear Mom, thank you for being at every meet and for waking up with me every morning practice, even after I started driving. Every morning practice, in the garage, we had the same one-phrase conversation. She would ask, "Are you sure you want to go?" And I responded yes, every single time. though I will admit now that sometimes in my head I scream back no. I would also like to use this opportunity to carry on a tradition that the seniors at my school were not able to have, where they stand up in front of the school and say why they love their moms. I love my mom because she always supports me no matter what. She puts our family as her first priority. She's the kindest person I know, and because she knows what I'm thinking before I do. Dear Dad, thank you for taking off work to come see me swim. Every time I saw you at a meet, it would make me so happy. Thank you also for leaving your coaching expertise on the AYSO soccer field and letting swimming be my thing, because I know how hard that must have been for you to do. I will never forget winning Junior Olympics back as an 11-year-old, not being able to see what place I had gotten yet, but hearing your happy scream simultaneously as I realized that I had achieved my goal. I can't wait for more special memories like this over the next 4 years at Georgetown. Andrew, thank you for putting up with our family, caring so much about this team. Thank you for spending some of your earliest memories on the hill watching me swim. While I don't say it often, your constant support is very appreciated. I love you. Next, I want to thank all of my coaches that make this team so great. Starting off from the very beginning, anyone on Rose Bowl today knows Coach Jeff Klotz as the hilariously sarcastic coach for only older kids, but to me, he will always be one of my first coaches. If anyone has ever wondered why he transferred from coaching young kids to older groups, it was definitely because he had to put up with 6-year-old me. Coach Jeff Klotz, thank you for not only dealing with my crying as a youngster, but for remaining someone I could always count on throughout my life. You have truly seen me grow throughout the years, and have always been someone who without a doubt can make me laugh. Thank you for caring so much about every single one of your swimmers and for being such a huge part of my life. I will definitely be reaching out in the future to not only hear more of your crazy life stories, but maybe for a little bit more help with math as well. I quickly advanced to the levels on pre-team, which was at the time called the red and black groups. I love the sport, but dealt with the significant obstacle of hating cold water. Coach James, thank you for getting me through the tougher times of age group swimming through bribing me to stay in the sport with hot chocolate. There is no way I would still be swimming if it weren't for your belief in me at such a young age. It was at the time of the 2008 Beijing Olympics that I realized swimming was actually something I wanted to dedicate myself to. At this time, I was still being held back on pre-team because of my inability to properly do any stroke except breaststroke. However, they finally made an exception and allowed me on the real team after I broke the 8 and under 100 breaststroke record, despite still technically not being in a real group on the team yet. It was at this time that I was put in a group with the coach I was with the longest, Coach Christine. Coach Christine, thank you for being a second mom to me throughout my life. I don't know if there's a record for who's been in Coach Christine's group the longest, but having you for over 10 years, I'm definitely nominated for the prize. You've seen me grow more than anyone in my life, coaching me from when I was an 8-year-old who couldn't do freestyle kick, all the way to coaching me in the national group where I still can't do freestyle kick. You really have seen me at my very best, very worst, and everything in between. The journey was not easy. I'm so thankful for the tough conversations and lessons you've taught me along the way. I will never forget doing a breaststroke kick during a fly set and being sent to the gutter lane with a band around my ankles to do dolphin kick for the rest of practice. This was the same year that I was put in the 100 fly every meet until I could do it without getting DQ'd. After at least 10 unsuccessful attempts, one of my best memories of my swimming career so far was the entire coaches tent and parents section jumping up and cheering after finally finishing a legal fly race for the first time. And of course, there was a time where I touched first at Super JOs, only to look at you screaming at me to keep going and realize I had only swam a 150 of the 200 breaststroke. Or back when I was a distance swimmer until my cap and goggles came off during the start of my mile. The only reason why I finished that race was because you were there with me, walking back and forth for the whole 20 plus minutes, and I knew I couldn't let you down. You have always been there for me through these crazy times and so much more. You taught me to never give up and that anything is possible if you dedicate yourself to it. Thank you for never giving up on me and always wanting the best for me no matter what. Throughout elementary and high school, whenever I was asked who my hero is, I always said you. I will always look up to you as both a person and coach, and I hope to continue living my life as you have taught me to. Before I race, I will continue to hear your voice telling me to breathe, smile, and just let go and have fun, because that is how you taught me to swim. You helped me find my love for swimming, and I can't thank you enough for that. As an 8th grader, it was finally time for me, for Coach Christine to hand me off to Coach Jeff, or so we thought. You couldn't get rid of me that easily. I'm so thankful for those 2 years you coached me in the national group because those were really the times I grew the most as a person. I am who I am today because of you. My first joining of the national group was a pretty quick transition as I was quite literally thrown into the deep end and brought on the group's training trip to the Olympic Training Center for my first practices. Coach Jeff, thank you for believing in my potential and for taking my swimming to the next level. You believed I could do big things far before I did, and I thank you for pushing me to be better every day. Without a doubt, my biggest accomplishment on Rose Bowl was not swimming, but making it to the top of the incline with you. Taking it one railroad step at a time was truly a metaphor brought to life for trusting the process to achieve your goals. I don't know how this has turned into one of my most fun memories of my life, as we are the only people who could truly appreciate how miserable it was at the time. Being able to look back at the hard work being fun and not being able to remember actually standing at the top of the mountain at all is really the lesson of enjoying the process brought to life. Thank you for being such a huge part of my success as a high schooler and someone I have looked up to my entire life. Roseville is what it is because of you. You have done such a great job building this team culture, so much so that teachers have asked me why I put the word team in all caps, and I don't think I will ever be able to write the word team the normal way again. Thank you for supporting me as I move on to college and for being someone I can always count on. I would lastly like to give a shout out to Coach Hector and Coach Cameron, who I was able to have when they first joined the team as assistant coaches back in Coach Recede's group. You both bring such a positive energy to the team, and your summers are lucky to have you. Also, a huge thank you to Coach Caitlin for being such an amazing role model this past year. I would not have made it through the ups and downs of this insane senior year without you. We love you so much. To finish off, I would like to thank all of my friends and teammates who have made my Rose Bowl journey so amazing. Through goofing around in Santa Barbara and Palm Springs, discovering One Direction at Far Westerns, hiding from tornadoes in Florida, flying off river rafts in Colorado, frozen milk in Texas, throwing peaches in Croatia, breathing with no air in Flagstaff, caring for plants as pets in Carlsbad, the right yoke being the wrong yoke in Indiana, and finishing off with some huge growth in Knoxville, we really have been through it all together as a team. Thank you especially to my friends who have been there since the very beginning, as I know we'll always have this special bond of growing up on this team forever. My legacy will always be carried on at the Rose Bowl through the hydro flasks and broken paddles with my name on them that you will continue to find for years. When we all finally get back to the pool, please take a second to stop and enjoy it, because while a set may seem endless, your time on this team really will go by fast. Be thankful for the obstacles that you will face throughout your journey, because those are the times that will make you the strongest. Thank you everyone for making me the person I am today. I know the Rose Bowl will always be the place I call home. Thank you for being the best team there is, and go Rose Bowl.
Wow, that was awesome. Yeah, talked about a history of the Rose Bowl. And yes, only 5 more steps, just 5 more steps, then we can take another break. Yeah, I remember that walk or climb. Thank you all. Those were amazing. You guys continued to just share from your heart and share your experiences. And it's always one of my favorite parts. And this, I've heard from some parents saying they actually like this better than the Swimathon environment. And yeah, in a lot of ways, I have to agree. I obviously miss the group and having everybody around, but the way we get to listen to the stories now and hear all of your experiences over the Rose Bowl is pretty special. So thank you all for sharing that. We will finish with a Q&A section here. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and send some. I have some that have come through already. Some are similar to last week's as well. So I'll start with those. Obviously, we'll start with just a couple with quarantine and COVID and everything going on. For all 4 of you, do you have any news on your fall classes and kind of what's going on with you guys for college?
So I actually got news yesterday. So we're going to be doing 4 7.5-week terms, basically, where it's going to be like half a fall term and then another half fall term. So half the school is going to go in the first term and then so forth. And that's going to continue on in the spring. So, but first years are going in starting on August 24th through, I think, like October 14th or something.
Okay, nice.
So it's not much of a college freshman year, but it's something, right?
It's something, yeah, and you'll get a good experience out of it, no doubt.
Yeah.
What are you doing the second half out of curiosity? You just go home or are you online?
So they might have some people stay the whole year just in residence and take classes online, and they might send some people back. They haven't been made that part clear yet, but we'll see. They said they'll start choosing kids and people starting.
Half of the time we'll actually go to classes.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else?
My school is starting like August 17th, which is around 2 weeks earlier than normal. And they're doing that so that we can finish our first semester before our Thanksgiving break. And that way people can go home before like flu season starts.
Yeah, and I've heard not have to travel back and forth, like go home for Thanksgiving, travel back for finals, and then travel back for winter break. Just get to travel home and be done. Yeah, that's great. So otherwise, though, you're ready to start mid-August right now, right?
Mhm.
Wow, cool. Angelica or Emily, any news on you guys?
No, I don't find out till the end of June.
Okay, so they're waiting.
Georgetown's still figuring it out.
They'll figure it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably smart. See what they can do as things change as we go forward. I shared last week in national group. I've obviously shared all the time, or hopefully all the time. I think our summers have done an incredible job handling everything, and especially our seniors who have had a year thrown that was supposed to go along with a lot of things that they were prepared for, and it's just different. And the experience can be great, and we've talked about that a lot, but it's not easy. But I think our summers and especially our seniors have done a fantastic job. Do you guys have any advice of how you've kind of gotten through it for your former or your fellow teammates?
This year, or just like senior year in general, or
Both. Actually, yeah, either one would be great.
I don't know. That's a tough question.
COVID or quarantine specifically, or senior year and your the fall that was quote unquote normal. Anything good?
I think it's definitely been really hard for me to like adjust to like staying at home and like not going to practice and like my normal routine or not seeing my friends at school. But I think I've definitely like taken advantage of this time because I've spent a lot more time with my family and like staying home before I like leave for college. So I get that's pretty nice.
Cool. So you found some positives from it already. Yeah, it's interesting. We talk about routine a lot, or schedules and things like that, and it took me a long time to realize how reliant I am on a schedule to keep being productive as I want to be. And I think a lot of us are realizing that in this time when we're thrown into home and have to figure out our own schedules. So, anybody else?
To advice, I guess, would be just don't think about it too much. Just kind of think of it as any other year, honestly, and it'll be more fun because things will just happen that are more fun to you and come along the way. I guess I kind of thought it would be big hurrah, but it's not. But it's still a great year. I actually had a lot of fun this year despite Corona. So
Yeah. No, and I think that's a great lesson actually for people who don't know. The year hasn't been smooth for you by any means. You were having to think through a lot of things in the fall and figure things out as you adjusted a new group and a senior year and all these things going on. But your experience and what you've earned from it is about kind of pushing through and finding that, being committed to something that you're committed to. But once you are, finding that way to push through and find the experience that you want. And I think you did a awesome job of handling a lot thrown at you this fall to do it. So no, I think that's great. Moving off of COVID, I don't want us to stick to that and going more just into college and as you head into it. What are you most excited about as you head into college and really the next steps in your lives? Not having to do with any adjustment. What were you necessarily most excited about college and that next step? Anybody?
I think I'm definitely more excited to be like more independent, and I'm very excited to move to San Diego because the weather is always so nice over there, and being able to continue my swimming career is going to be very exciting because I already have like friends at the school, so that's very reassuring. But yeah, I'm very excited to move to San Diego.
Awesome. Cool. Anybody else got anything excited that you're excited about?
I'd say that I'm really excited to meet new people from everywhere because when I was there on my recruit trip, everyone was from all over the country and even from out of this country. And I know that our diver next year is actually from China. So I'm definitely really excited to just meet a lot of different people and find out about cultures from around the world.
Awesome. That's very cool. Marshall or Emily, you have anything that you were especially excited about other than just the overall experience?
I'm also really excited to meet new people, and I'm going to be living on the East Coast for the first time, which is really exciting. I'm excited to see seasons because I've never really seen like a real fall before. So that should be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely got some new experiences.
I guess I'm excited to see the cornfields in Iowa. It's gonna be awesome. It's actually. I hope it's gonna be beautiful. And I'm excited to meet new people as well. I'm just excited for dorm life and to study what I want finally. So mostly just study what I want. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. Um, let's see. Everybody's, I believe all four are swimming in college. Is that something that you've always wanted to do?
Yes, I've always wanted to swim in college. I feel like um, growing up, like hearing about you and Christine's experience on USC was definitely very motivating to want to have the college swimming experience. And while the recruiting process was definitely really stressful for me, I feel like it's definitely worth it. And I'm very excited to have new teammates and make new experiences. So, yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Anybody else have anything? We don't have to go through everybody on everyone. With that, do you guys have plans for your majors already, or careers after college, or are you still kind of figuring things out?
I'm gonna study classics, which is not a really well-known major, but something I'm really interested in. So
Awesome. Very cool. How long has that been a passion of yours?
probably since about third grade.
Wow.
I not classics in general, but I got into Greek mythology from Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
But then I started reading Edith Hamilton's mythology book,
Hmm.
and I started learning more about the culture of ancient Rome, ancient Greece, and I just got really into it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's very cool.
then freshman in high school, I discovered that you could major in something like that. So yeah, I want to read the Bible in ancient Greek. It sounds pretty cool to me. So
Awesome. I love it.
mhm.
Anybody else have any thoughts on your majors?
I'm studying business.
Business. Good. Do you have a certain plan, or just kind of keep it open on what piece of that you like best?
I don't know what I want to do with my life yet, but I feel like I have a lot of options with that path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, this is not a pressure question, I hope. This is not the expectation to tell us the rest of your life right now. It's just a question if there's anything that's on your plans right now.
I also know I want to study something business related, and I hope like at some point I'll be able to study abroad too, because I think that's really fun and cool.
Yeah.
A
Awesome.
good experience.
Yeah.
I'm planning on majoring in econ and potentially minoring in bio.
Wow. Very cool. Specifics to those two? Econ and bio, or just kind of give you a couple different options?
Yeah, just general, because I don't really know what I would do with the bio minor, but I really love bio, and that's something I've always leaned towards. So
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
something I don't know.
Education and have that. Yeah, that's wonderful. Very cool. Econ, something you've always enjoyed?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, I've like really admired my mom, and that's what she did, and she actually taught me a lot about how she's been able to use econ. So yeah.
Nice. Family tradition. I like it. So what were the biggest factors that made you decide on the schools that you had chosen? Whoever has that.
For me, I only had like 3 schools I was really looking at, but I visited San Diego like on my own with my dad my sophomore year, and as soon as like I stepped on campus, like I knew I was like wanting to go there. So it was more of a matter of just like talking to the coaches, and I was talking to the assistant coach for like a year and a half. At this point it'd be like a year and a half or so. So I've been in contact with the team for a while, and I kind of really thought that the coaches were a good fit for me, and the girls on the team are really nice too, so that was a huge plus.
Awesome.
For me, the whole recruiting process, I only wanted to go to Georgetown. It was like the only school I was really talking to. I do not recommend that strategy because it was very stressful, but it did work out. But I feel like everything about the school is perfect for me. I like being on the East Coast. The team was like so much like Rose Bowl with the team environment being so successful, and the coach seems really nice, and I'm just very excited to start my new life there.
Love it.
My process with college recruitment was not the same. I tried to do that with a few coaches, but then I didn't know if I wanted to swim, so I kind of stopped. And then I just applied to a bunch of schools. I think I applied to 15 schools, and I would see which one I got into. And I think I got into quite a few, but then I really liked Grinnell. I didn't get a chance to visit, but I looked at it online. It looks really pretty, so we're hoping. No, I took a virtual tour, but I'm excited.
I'm sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Very cool. Now, I know a lot of them came out in your speeches and everything, but do you guys have a favorite team memory that you want to share that didn't quite fit in your speech, but just a fun team memory that you want to share with everybody?
For me, I've been on the team for so long, so I've been on a lot of the team trips from like Santa Barbara to Palm Springs and Florida and everything. But I think one of my favorite memories, and that was like more related to the training side, was when I went to Arizona last summer with the national group. It was one of the most brutal things I've ever done, but also very rewarding. I've never felt pain like that before, but I got so much closer to the team, and I'm just so grateful that I was able to go on that trip and have that opportunity. But yeah, definitely a learning experience, but I did learn a lot about myself and like what I could do under the pressures and stuff. So yeah, that was definitely my best memory.
That's awesome. That was a very good training trip. You guys responded very well to a lot of push, let's say. Yes. Yeah, awesome.
Similarly, my best memories were from the Olympic Training Center. I feel like at that time I was changing so much in my life because I was just about to start high school, and this was a brand new group for me. Like, I was with a new coach, and it just really changed me so much as a person, and I started to value swimming and just my teammates so much more. And it's just a trip that I'll never forget, and it was so hard, but it was so worth it, and yeah, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, training trips are fun.
I think for me, a really great memory would be when we were younger. A lot of us in our group were really obsessed with My Little Pony, and we kind of made everything around that. And I mean, even years later at NCSAs this past summer, we were blasting My Little Pony music, and all of us even remembered the words. So just having that as something I would always connect to the team.
Very, very cool. I love it. Well, I love it. Memories so old. Marshall?
I think mine was probably NCSA juniors when I was 13, just before going into high school. I just had a really fun time that meet, and we got to go to a water park after, and it had literally lightninged about 3 hours, or thunder and lightning 3 hours before we went to the water park. So I just had a really fun time, and I don't even remember swimming, but it was a fun meet.
Oh, I think that happens a lot as you get past your swimming career, you're going to remember the experiences a lot in this actual swimming pieces, or racing especially. You're not going to remember as much. I have to ask just for fun, Angelica, Marshall, and Emily, are you prepared for the cold and the weather? Have you bought warm jackets? And we got Coach James a really good warm jacket, he said, that worked well. So that would only really work for Angelica, though, who keeps the same colors as she moves on to Cornell. You guys ready for the cold?
Mentally, I think so. Probably not. Everyone says I'm not, so.
I don't listen to everybody else.
But in clothes-wise, not at all.
Yeah, gonna have to figure that out at some point in time here. Angelica, you ready?
Probably not actually ready for it, but I'm definitely excited to experience it.
Yeah. Have you gotten winter clothes yet?
I've started to get a few things, but
Started.
definitely not enough yet.
Yeah. Emily, how about you?
I have no clothes. I don't own a jacket. Right now, I'm trying to go to the beach as much as possible just to really soak in my last few months of California.
Yeah.
I also don't want to be pale, so I'm getting very tan at the beach and hoping that'll last.
Yeah, good luck. Not sure that lasts. Um, yeah, no, enjoy the sun, enjoy it while you have it. No, the weather I'm sure is great. You'll just experience some cold for sure. Um, yeah, thank you all for that. I don't see any other questions coming through at this point in time. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys sharing everything that you shared and coming on and doing this for us and for the team. I think it's actually, I think you know the value of it as younger athletes growing up and listening to the speeches at swimathons. I know how much it means to you guys as well as athletes. So thank you for continuing this tradition and just taking it to a new level this year for all of our speakers so far. And those that are on here and coming up next, it's not about pressure. It's just about sharing your honest feelings and experiences while you're on this team. And that's all you really have to do. Emily, do you have thoughts on 2.5 weeks at 5 a.m. at OTC?
We actually woke up at 4:10 every morning because my roommate liked to be early. So it was a very great experience, though. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah, we on that trip we were the early crew. So ours were like 5 to 7, I think, and then 1 to 3 or something like that. So it's really weird to be done with the day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, it was really early morning, so we got to go to bed early. All right, I think that is it. I thank you all for joining us this morning. Seniors, again, thank you. You did a phenomenal job this morning. I thank you for sharing everything. Thank you all for being a part of this team, and go Rose Bowl.